In today's tutorial, we're going to walk through adding a Tablet Kiosk App to your Android or iPad tablet. So you're going to need to go to the Play Store or the App Store. You're going to search for PrimeNet Kiosk and enter to search. It should be listed somewhere in here. I've already got it installed on my system, but you will click on it, download it, and then open it. Once you've done that, then you will be able to click on the link or the icon, I should say, to open up the app. Now, I'll update that later, but when you have this open, I have to log in because I already have this set up for a card ID and a PIN. When you open it up with the 3 dashes, it should automatically come up to this for you. You're going to need this serial number because we're going to have to put that into the software. Your time clock server should be here, time.idhrp.com. The admin card ID and the admin PIN, you're just going to make something up. They need to be numeric. You need to be able to remember it because as you've seen when I clicked on those 3 dashes to get into my admin icons, I needed to enter that card ID and I needed to enter the PIN. So whatever you put in here, something that's easy to remember. It just needs to be numeric. It could be 4 digits, 6 digits, 8 digits, whatever you like as far as that goes. I'm just doing something simple here. So once you've got this, you click OK. And that's going to bring this up. But we can see that the circle's still red. And if I click on it, it will usually come up and tell me not connected to server. This is a Android emulator running on the desktop, so it's not always the greatest. But pinkish, reddish, that always means that it's not connected to the server. Let's see if I can get it to do anything. I'll go to my settings, I'll click OK. Nope, it still wants me to set it up in the server. We will come back to this and finish once we've got the server page set up or the software page set up for the Timeclock Server 9. Once we're in the software, we need to go to Configuration, Time Clocks, and Timeclock Server 9. We can see mine is blank here. You may already have tablets. If you do, you only need to click the blue plus. I don't have any groups, so I need to add one. A group can be a grouping of clocks, maybe a grouping of fingerprint clocks, a grouping of face readers, a grouping of tablets, a grouping of red clocks, a grouping of green clocks, a grouping of clocks at one location, another grouping for clocks at a different location. It honestly doesn't matter. It depends on your OCD and how you want to set things up to make things easier to find whenever you're troubleshooting anything. We're just going to set up one group. And I'm going to click the plus, and I'm going to give it a name. Something simple. Whoops, tablets. Okay. And any tablet I add through here, I'm just going to add them to this group unless I feel the need to create another group and then add those tablets to it. But we do need the group. Next, we click the plus. We need to choose one of those groups. We've only got one. We still need to choose it. We click OK. This is our clock setup page now. We need to add that serial number that came from the tablet as we were setting it up. We want to give it a description, and we should give it something where we can recognize where this tablet is at. If you've only got one, that's not a huge deal, but when you get to multiple tablets, you might have one at the main entrance, warehouse, lunchroom, side entrance, things like that. It makes it much easier if you need to troubleshoot something when you know which clock is having trouble. So we're just going to call this lunchroom. We're going to make sure we select active. Now for the model, it doesn't matter which type of tablet it is. We're simply going to choose tablet app. Authentication mode, you've got two choices. Either use their card ID or make them use a card ID and a PIN in order to clock in or out. Now, if you're utilizing this one, you have to make sure every employee does in fact have a PIN number in their employee details. They'll need that before they clock in or out. We're just going to select use card ID. We're going to select our time zone. Not worried about this. You really don't need to use groups even though we set one up. We could, and this is helpful if we want to keep John from clocking in and out at the reception desk, where one of the reception clocks groups are. You know, maybe you want to force people to clock into the closest clock to them to their work area. So at that point, I would use time clock groups. I'm not going to go into that any further in this one because I'm just showing how to set a basic tablet up. Enforce level hierarchy plan. If you've got level hierarchies people are attached to, when they clock in or out for jobs, and they're only supposed to see X amount of the entire amount of jobs in the company, you need to click this. Other than that, basically enable start and end, clock in and out. Enable transfer is if they're switching from job to job. Enable break if they're using breaks, or enable lunch. You can select require photo and the tablet will take a picture of them, of each person who is clocking in. This makes it just a little bit slower when clocking in or out. You could select view PTOs, view timesheet. I'm not sure if the view schedules is on the app for the tablet or not. I mean, you can try it if you want to. The only thing about these three here is maybe you just want to have these on a tablet in the lunchroom rather than the entrances or their workstations, because if you've got a line of people clocking in and someone's sitting there spending 3 minutes looking at their schedules, or they're trying to request time off or their timesheet or something, that's going to back up the people behind you. So just word of warning as far as that goes. They're nice features, but they can really slow down people clocking in and out. Break and safety questions. If your software is set up for these questions, it might be something like, did you receive a 30-minute uninterrupted work lunch today or lunch break? Did you have any injuries that were not reported to your supervisor? When the employees clock out, they will see these questions and they will have to answer no or yes to them in order to successfully clock out. Health attestation is kind of the same thing in reverse. We don't use these much anymore since COVID is done, but this would be when they clock in. Do you have a temperature? Have you felt sick? Have you been around anybody who's sick? Things like that. Enforce schedule. If they're on schedules, we can set this to enforce a schedule so they can only clock in or out when their scheduled time starts and between their scheduled stop time, any time in between. We could give them a grace period of maybe 2 minutes before their schedule starts and maybe 2 minutes after, depending on how long the lines are at the clocks, to get everybody clocked in or out, to prevent people from clocking in 30 minutes early or 30 minutes late, or whatever the case may be. If this is enabled and they are outside of the grace period that you have set up, and they fail to clock within that time, they will need to get a hold of their supervisor and let them know what time they tried to clock out, because if they're in late, it's going to let them clock in because that's after their scheduled start time. So just be aware of that. Tip, quantity is pieces. Duplicated punch tolerance, at least 1 or 2 needs to go here. That way they don't double punch, they don't clock in, turn around, talk to somebody, turn back around and say, did I clock in or not? And then try to clock in again. It's going to stop them and tell them duplicated punch. Minimum lunch. If you're in an area that requires the employees to be clocked out for a minimum amount of time, then you would put that here. Even if you aren't in that area, but you wanted to ensure your employees took their full, say, 30 minutes, you would add that here. Now, the important note here is training for the employees, because if I clock out at 12 o'clock and 50 seconds, and then I come back at 12:30 and 10 seconds and try to clock in, it is not going to let me, because even though 12 and 12:30 in our mind says 30 minutes, those seconds matter. And if I tried to clock in at 12:30 and 10 seconds, realistically, that's only 29 minutes and 40 seconds. It is not going to let me. It's going to tell me that minimum time is not met. Please try again later. So important to train the employees on this, so that they don't just end up walking away thinking they're clocked in and you end up with a bunch of missing punches. This stays at 30. We don't worry about that. We'll put something like 3 here, show employee name by X amount of seconds so the employee can see them, that they've clocked in, get their confirmation, and then continue on. We're not worried about a card ID offsets here because we're not using badges for this clock. So these are the items that need to be put in here, and we can just click save when we're done. And we want clock save successfully. Okay. Now we can go back to the tablet and save the settings. We click back up here again, enter our ID, and there's our admin. Now, the serial number in here is not the same as the serial number on the box, so you just can't take that and put in. You have to install the app in order to get the serial number. We click here. We can see all of our information. We click OK. Now we have successfully connected to the server because we did add the clock to the server and put it in. So PTO request, view timesheet, scheduling is not an option on the app, or at least not on this version of the app. We click start. I don't know which employee numbers we have. Invalid badge ID. The employees are not even pushed in here anyways, so that's not something we can do. I just click the little X up there to get back to the screen. Now we need to send the employees to this clock, because only employees that have been sent to the clock are going to be able to clock in. We're going to do that in our clock configuration page. If you browsed away from this for any reason, again, configuration, Timeclock Server 9. There's our tablet. I see it's green. It's online. If I want to look at the configuration, I need to click on this settings page. Now up here, I need to do my schedule. Now, I would have done this typically prior to going to the tablet and going to settings and clicking OK. So that it would have already been automatic, but I wanted to show you what the tablet looks like when it's connected, because you may have it right next to you as you're doing this, and then tap OK. So we're going to click on schedule, and again the blue plus. We're going to choose the clock setup, 1440, number of minutes. I put this here in case somebody comes in and does recurring. It would set it up for once a day. We don't need this as recurring, but I do need minutes in here, and I don't want to screw up and set it for like 1 minute and then accidentally have it recurring, because that's going to bog the tablet down. So 1440 is fine for that. Not worried about the date or the time on this one. Again, I just needed to send once and just have it in there in case I do need to send it. When I tapped OK at the tablet, it already brought the configuration in. This is really not necessary at this point, but I want to have it in here. Should I change anything, then I can just come back here and click edit, and because it will be looking like this. At that point, I can just click active, immediate, and save, and then save this, and it's going to send that setup to the clock within a few minutes. This is just ease of use. I'm already in here. I might as well set it up. But what I do need set up is going to be my synchronized templates. If the employees will be changing departments or jobs or something, I would also set up a send level codes. So synchronized templates, active, immediate, and you should use recurring. And the number of minutes you put down here determines on your employee turnover. If you don't hire too many employees, then you can do like 1440 and then set this for maybe 2 p.m. That way, every day at 2 p.m., it's going to look at the software and the employees. It's going to send all of the active employees to the software. It's going to remove any inactive employees once a day at 2 p.m. If you hire more than that, maybe you'll want, I don't know, 740 minutes twice a day, starting at, I don't know, 7, 8 a.m., whatever works best. And then 12 hours after 2 p.m., so that would be 2 a.m. It would send them, then 2 p.m., then 2 a.m., then 2 p.m., and so forth. But it needs to be in there. You need to have some sort of interval. You need to make this recurring so that you don't have to come back here and push every time you add a new employee. If I've got this set up for once a day at 2 p.m. and I put somebody in, I know then at 2 p.m. today or 2 p.m. tomorrow, they'll be able to use that clock. So I just click save. And if I need to add levels, which are my departments, jobs, things like that, I can do the same. I may do this once a day, not knowing how often jobs are put in. If jobs are put in more often, I may do this more often through the day. If they're not selecting departments or anything like that, I don't need this in the clock. I'm just showing you how that's set up. At this point, I click save and click OK. And now I can go do whatever else I want within the software. Within a few minutes, it's going to update this tablet, and any employees that are in the employee details will be able to clock in and out through that tablet. The only other thing is if maybe I did hire somebody and I do want them to start clocking sooner, I can come to this page, click on the schedule, go to my synchronized templates, put a checkbox in immediate, because this is what it'll look like when I come to the page. It'll still be recurring, it'll still be active, and so forth. I just put a check mark in immediate, and I click save. I don't need to change anything else. This immediate tells it to do it as soon as I hit this save button based on your network traffic. So I click save and then save again. And now when the tablet's ready, it'll accept the new list of employees and remove any employees that were inactivated in the software. Hopefully this helps for you. If you have any questions, please reach out to your support. Thank you.